Picture this. It's the year 2042. The Earth is a sweltering, dusty wasteland. Gone are the lush forests, the vibrant coral reefs, the sparkling glaciers. Decades of relentless climate change have ravaged our planet, leaving behind a parched and desolate landscape. The once mighty rivers have dwindled to mere trickles, and the life-giving rain rarely falls. The very air is thick with dust and despair. Humanity is on the brink. The few remaining habitable zones are overcrowded and racked by conflict. The world's best scientists have been working day and night to find a solution, a way to reverse the damage, a glimmer of hope for the future. But the clock is ticking, and time is running out. In a last-ditch effort to save our dying planet, a radical idea emerges. What if we could use the vast reserves of water on Earth to extinguish the sun? The idea, at first glance, seems ludicrous. How could we possibly hope to quench the fiery inferno that is our sun with the relatively meager amount of water found on our planet? The very notion seems like something out of a science fiction novel, a last-ditch act of desperation by a species on the brink of annihilation. But as the scientists delve deeper into the physics of the situation, a glimmer of possibility emerges. The sun, for all its immense power, is essentially a giant ball of burning hydrogen. And what happens when you throw water on fire? It's extinguished, right? Well, it's a bit more complicated than that, but the basic principle holds true. Of course, there are a few slight challenges. For starters, the sun is not your average campfire. It's a colossal furnace, 1,000,000 times larger than our planet, with a core temperature of over 27 million degrees Fahrenheit. And then, there's the small matter of getting all that water up there. But hey, desperate times call for desperate measures. Let's talk about scale for a moment, just to put things in perspective. The Earth may seem like a watery world with its vast oceans covering over 70% of its surface. But in the grand scheme of the cosmos, our planet's water reserves are a drop in the bucket compared to the sheer immensity of the sun. All the oceans, lakes, rivers, and glaciers on Earth combined wouldn't even register as a blip on the sun's radar. Think of it this way. Imagine trying to extinguish a raging bonfire with a single squirt gun. That's essentially the challenge we're facing. But undeterred, our intrepid scientists press on, driven by a sliver of hope and the sheer audacity of the idea. After all, what have we got to lose? Our planet is already on the fast track to becoming a cosmic cinder. A crazy, impossible plan might be our only shot at redemption. The initial attempts to water down the sun were, predictably, underwhelming. Using repurposed spacefaring rockets, they launched massive, water-filled payloads towards the sun. These early efforts were met with a less-than-spectacular end. The water, vaporized instantly upon entering the sun's outer atmosphere, created nothing more than a fleeting wisp of steam against the sun's blinding glare. It was like trying to douse a volcano with a garden hose. The sheer scale of the sun, its unimaginable heat and gravity dwarfed their efforts. The scientists, however, refused to be discouraged. They knew this was just the first tentative step in a long and perilous journey. They needed a bigger bucket, a more powerful hose, a way to deliver a truly significant amount of water to their target. The fate of humanity, they believed, depended on it. Section 5, Reaching for the Sky. Undeterred by the initial setbacks, the world's remaining superpowers pooled their resources and expertise. They constructed colossal water cannons on Earth, aiming to fire concentrated jets of water across millions of miles of space directly at the sun. These technological marvels, towering feats of engineering, represented humanity's last best hope. The first test fire was a sight to behold. A blinding beam of water thicker than the widest river shot from the cannon, propelled by unimaginable force. For a brief moment it seemed as if they might actually be onto something, but their hopes were quickly dashed. The water, unable to withstand the immense gravitational forces and the searing heat of the sun, disintegrated long before it could reach its target. The failure was a crushing blow, but it also served as a stark reminder of the sheer power of the celestial object they were dealing with. It was clear that conventional methods wouldn't suffice. They needed to think bigger, bolder, and perhaps even a little bit crazier. They needed to find a way to cheat physics, to bend the very fabric of space-time to their will. Section 6, A Portal to Nowhere. And so in a move that could only be described as audacious, bordering on insane, they set about creating a wormhole, a theoretical shortcut through the fabric of space-time. Their plan, open a portal near Earth, a cosmic drain of sorts, and connect it to another portal near the sun, creating a direct conduit for channeling Earth's water. The risks were enormous. The very act of creating a wormhole could rip apart the fabric of space-time, with unforeseen and potentially catastrophic consequences. But they were past the point of no return. It was a gamble they had to take. The portal flickered to life, a swirling vortex of energy, a testament to human ingenuity and desperation. They redirected massive quantities of seawater into the portal, watching with bated breath as it vanished into the unknown. But instead of the intended effect, the wormhole began to collapse in on itself, creating a gravitational anomaly that wreaked havoc on Earth's already fragile ecosystem. Section 7. The day the Earth ran dry. The consequences were immediate and catastrophic. Tsunamis of unprecedented scale ravaged coastlines, earthquakes shattered continents, and the very air crackled with unpredictable energy surges. The planet, already on the brink, was pushed beyond its breaking point. The once mighty oceans, drained at an alarming rate to fuel the wormhole, were now barren wastelands. The lifeblood of the planet, the source of all life, had been sacrificed in a desperate gamble, and they had lost. The experiment, a testament to human hubris and desperation, had backfired spectacularly. They had effectively turned their planet into a desolate wasteland, devoid of the very element they had hoped to use to save themselves. Section 8. A cosmic water balloon. But amidst the chaos, a glimmer of hope remained. A small group of scientists working independently had devised a different approach. They proposed encapsulating a massive quantity of water, all that was left on Earth, into a gigantic sun-sized sphere. This sphere, they argued, would have enough gravitational pull to be drawn towards the sun, eventually colliding with it in a final, desperate attempt to extinguish its flames. It was a long shot, a Hail Mary pass with the fate of humanity hanging in the balance. The sphere, a shimmering blue orb against the backdrop of a star-dusted void, made its slow, inexorable journey towards the sun. The world watched with bated breath as the sphere inched closer and closer to its target. The tension was palpable, a mixture of fear, hope, and resignation. As the sphere made contact, the sun roared, unleashing a wave of energy that rippled across the solar system. But instead of being vaporized instantly, the water held its form, its immense mass briefly resisting the sun's overwhelming heat. Section 9. A lesson learned. For a fleeting moment, a moment that stretched on for an eternity, it seemed as if they might actually succeed. But the sun, a celestial giant, angered by this insignificant assault, fought back with a vengeance, unleashing a final devastating solar flare that engulfed the water sphere, and with it, the last vestiges of hope. In the aftermath, all that remained was a silent void, a cosmic graveyard where a solar system once thrived. The experiment, their desperate gamble, had failed. Earth was gone, consumed by the very inferno they had hoped to extinguish. All that remained was a profound silence and a poignant lesson. There are some forces in the universe that even in our desperation we cannot control. We are but custodians of this pale blue dot, and it is our duty to cherish and protect it, not gamble with its existence.